What's up? It is week 1 and welcome to the Hoof Live podcast. Like I said, it's week 1. I'm pumped. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Season's finally here, baby. It's real. And we're both going to be there on Sunday, man. This is hype as hype can get right now. We are bringing the energy tonight for sure. I mean, it's everybody. If you're watching, you can feel it. The game is on this week. We are ready. The season is finally here. It's time, baby. It's time.
Yes, it is. There's no more preseason speculation. No more who's going to make the 53. That's all done. We know who's starting. Unlike some other teams are still trying to sort those things out. We know who our guys are. And, it's one of those kind of feelings where it's Christmas all over again. It's the elite season. Fall is here. Even in Denver, it was like 80 degrees a day, and I'm here for it all. I'm here for it all. So, I mean, I just have to grin. Like, I just have to smile because there's only a few things that like make me grin like this. Okay. Outside of the Bills, one of them is some good fried chicken and some banana pudding, some collard greens. I'll smile for that. Oh, bruh. Yes, sir.
I like banana pudding.
Yes, sir. And probably I'd say a little hottie in a towel just coming out the shower. Hey, they're one of the only things that'll get me smiling. Most of the time, I'm just in the cut like 3-6 Mafia. They'd be like, I'm in the club, posted up. That's me all the time. But no, man, I'm excited for the season, man. We got a lot of stuff going on this season here on the Hoof Live. And before we even get into our who's in the house tonight, there's a few things that I want to talk about. So one of them being we have a new sponsor. I don't know if you guys have been watching a lot of our content, but the IDP Army is one of our sponsors now. Okay. Right. So that's pretty dope. So if you guys don't know what IDP is, basically it's fantasy football that is on the defensive side of the ball. So it says presented by the IDP Army, mostly IDP, all fantasy football. Subscribe to the IDP Army channel on YouTube for weekly start sit live stream question and answers before every kickoff. That's Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we'll have we're going to talk a little bit more about IDP Army as we move into the show. Maybe midway through, we'll talk about them. Also, we do have to mention
great platform for fantasy football as well. They have a ton of stuff that we can talk about. All of us retweeted about it, but man, they have really unique perspectives on things like trade value and dynasty leagues. So even though the name implies IDP, as he said, it's really about all fantasy as well.
Yes. Yeah. Also, one of our OG sponsors, we're still doing Underdog. So Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports, including best ball, daily drafts, and pick 'em. Start drafting in minutes for a shot at big cash prizes. So just remember, okay? So when you go in there this week, okay, you got to get all your picks and all this stuff going on, right? You got to get your stuff situated, right? So when you enter the promo code COVER1 and you make a deposit, it'll match up to $25 on your first deposit. So they're giving you $25 for the freezy, my kneesy. For the freezy. They're giving it away. It just making it rain. $25.
COVER1. And now the season's on. It's time to start making those lineups, putting in those player prop parlays. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see me post a few of my lineups this week for sure. I'll be tweeting them out. Because it's time and we're ready. We're primed and ready to go for these. This is going to be awesome.
Tally Site. Okay. So I don't know if you guys, the fans, if you guys are familiar with Tally Site, but make sure you go to tallysite.com where you can find all of our Cover One content creators. We all do our weekly picks. I know Anthony and Greg and some of these guys are really big into sports betting in terms of NFL outcomes and spreads. So this is where you can find their work and their content. Also, our podcast will drop on Fridays as well. Not this show, but we're going to do like a little deeper dive on our podcast on Friday. So that's where Anthony will do his 5 for 5 and so forth, which was really a success last year. So if you followed Anthony in his picks, you're going to win some some cash money.
Could have made some big money last year.
But, you know, I don't know where Eric is right now. He's coming. I don't know if he is or not. But you know what? Let's go ahead and start off with some shout outs. We got Matthew Harmon in the house. It says, evening, Bills fam. Go Bills, I believe. Yes, sir. Don Keith is here. She's talking about Bobby Hart. Bobby Hart is another thing that makes me happy, makes me smile, because he just got signed to the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be on the practice squad. So if something happens catastrophic to a tackle, they're going to just throw in Bobby Hart, which would warm my heart. No pun intended right there. Vlad says, let's go. Jason, what's good, my G? Matthew Bagdasar, what's happening, my guy? What is happening? Garbage Al, this is great. He says, let's go. Garbage Al, what's good, man? What's good? Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the Hoof Podcast, man. Look, we ain't got enough. We ain't got enough likes. I definitely don't have enough follows. I'm gonna need some more. You know, we're giving you bangers of a show. So look, do me a favor, do me a solid. Is that what the kids say these days? Do me a solid, G. Hey, go ahead and make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the Hoof Podcast. This is the Cover One Network, and we're keeping it locked and loaded. All right, so tonight's show, we're going to be focusing on, you know, we typically have a format and kind of a way we do our show, you know. During the season last year, we will kind of start off with, you know, the recap of the last game, and then, you know, kind of talk about some things that we like to dislike and so forth. And then we will kind of just go into, you know, double dabble into the next opponent. Well, this week, because this is week one, we're just going to hit you with Steelers. We're going all for it tonight. So right. We're going to do that. But first, there are a few notable headlines around the NFL that I think deserves some attention. And just so you know, people, it's What's Poppin'. What's Poppin' is where we talk about the latest and the greatest around the NFL that is not Bills related. We have a few topics for tonight that we'll lightly dust over. You know, I usually come up with these topics. I put them in our little thing, and our guys usually don't know what we're going to talk about. So we got a first topic of the night. Real simple here, but Le'Veon Bell signs with the Ravens, and Latavius Murray released by the Saints. Le'Veon Bell, we know that he had a little stint with the old Kansas City Chiefs, and then my guy started talking shit about Andy Reid because apparently he felt like he didn't get a fair shake. I wasn't there. I don't know, but he had beef with Andy Reid and some of the, I mean, if you go back this offseason, you can see some, you know, like Tyrann Mathieu, guys came out to defend their coach, which rightfully so. I don't know. But we know, what we do know is this. Le'Veon Bell has not really found a home in years. He had that big contract dispute with Pittsburgh, which led him to, you know, to end up with the New York Jets. That didn't turn out well because Adam Gase will Adam Gase. And then, you know, it was a toss-up between the Bills and the Chiefs. My guy chose the Chiefs, and it kind of flamed out. So, thoughts on Le'Veon Bell?
Well, I think you summarized it well there. Has there ever been a bigger fall from grace? This guy was the best player in the NFL, hands down, pretty much. The best player in the NFL. That's saying something. I mean, a running back, you know, a valuable position, but he was more than that. He was a wide receiver, running back, anything, everything kind of guy. And his numbers proved out in Pittsburgh. And then he got an attitude and didn't start getting along with the organization. He needs a big contract now because he's a star. And then obviously you talked about it going to the Jets, which the Jets were a dumpster fire of an organization, fell on his face there. And you're like, okay, maybe it was just because he was the Jets, you know. Oh, he's going to Kansas City. This team's legit. And they have a rookie running back. And what did he do there? Nothing. A few carries here and there, but nothing really. Certainly did not have an impact on that roster. And they let him go mostly for what you said, probably the attitude over everything. And then now he goes to the Ravens. So we'll see. He gets picked up by a team, though, in a situation that I think is better maybe for a guy like him, especially because we know, well, likely J.K. Dobbins is out for an extended period of time. So they need a guy that they can trust. They have guys on that roster already, like Gus Edwards, who's perfectly capable of being a running back on that team, especially when Lamar Jackson's your quarterback. He's basically your RB1. And then Gus Edwards, he's a capable guy. I would certainly love to have him. But Le'Veon Bell gives you a little extra cushion of, okay, at least this guy knows how to be a running back. He's a veteran. We can depend on him. He's a pass catcher, so maybe they're going to use him in third down, short pass situations or something. Who knows? But I think this is a good situation for him, a team that it likes to run the ball more than they pass the ball. And when they do pass the ball, it's usually short passes. So maybe if Le'Veon Bell doesn't make it here, he's done. His career is over, and he is the biggest superstar to flop that I can think of off the top of my head. Certainly. I mean, again, not just best running back, not just, whatever. He was the best player in the NFL by almost everyone's standard. And then boom, he's nothing. Can't do a damn thing. So certainly quite the fall from grace.
Hey, real quick though,
Turnstile Heart.
That's hilarious, by the way. And this is from Jeff. Okay, so look, I don't know this Jeff, but every Jeff I've met with a G has been kind of a dick. I'm not saying Jeff is a dick, but the way they spell Jeff with a G, it pretty much says
we better be careful. You also got a Jeffrey in here, so
dog, what's in the water tonight? We got a lot of Jeffreys.
Don't be hating on the names.
I'm gonna hate on them. I'm gonna hate on that. I'm gonna hate on the Jeffrey. Now, Jeff, since he's watching the show, Jeff is the G now. Jeff, you have to watch the show every week so I can point out the uniqueness of the spelling of your name, please and thank you. All right, so Latavius Murray is another guy that he was released today. We know that the New Orleans Saints do not believe in the cap. Okay, I know the kids say that's cap, but they don't believe in it at all. So they usually push the limits when it comes to the cap. They signed Desmond Trufant earlier. So they need, they had roughly $2 million in free money, to make a move with the cap, releasing Latavius Murray. I think that puts him, I think they saved like $3 million, if I'm not mistaken, by releasing him. But Latavius Murray was coming off probably his best NFL season. I know that in terms of like yards per carry, he had like 4.5 yards a carry. So he was able to be effective running the ball. So there are teams out there that are running back that are in need of a running back. Latavius Murray would not be a bad pickup. And for those of you who have him on your fantasy squad, you might want to release him because he's not going to play. Well, I mean, we don't know. And by the way, just so you know, Le'Veon Bell's on the practice squad. Just throwing that out there.
Right, yeah, because he's a stash guy. Again, valuable with that team specifically, I think. But a guy like Murray is most likely going to catch on somewhere. So if you have him in fantasy, I wouldn't drop him just yet. See where he ends up. This was a bit bigger of a surprise cut, I think, for the Saints because, like you said, they've been in a cap situation that everybody knows is ugly at best, and their back's against the wall, and they've had to manipulate things in different ways. So unless there's something going on that hasn't been released publicly off the field or something that would indicate why they cut him, he's going to be signed somewhere. Yeah, he's a legitimate backup running back for a team. I think he could be a number 2 on a bunch of teams, and they would love to have him. So he's a veteran. He's done well in that role before. Somebody's going to pick him up and he'll get fantasy stats. So go ahead and drop him if you're in my league, because I'll pick him right up and see where he ends up. But, he might be worth the stash to see where he ends up. And if it's a good situation, a team that might need a second running back who's going to get a few touches here and there, or maybe some red zone action, he's capable, and I think, will catch on somewhere.
So, fantasy real quick. Look, Yahoo and all these ones that grade, man, they trash. I just want to throw that out there. My squad, I'm in the Chop Up League with my guy Jay Spence and some others, and I had a bang up of a roster, and I put it on Twitter, and some of y'all are just straight hating, but that's okay. We'll get into it another time.
As the president fantasy guy on this show, I told you I think a C was legit. It was average at best. That's a C. That's a C.
And the words
as a
of
professor and a fantasy guy, C is bad.
What does a professor have to do with fantasy football?
Just grading is my point.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Grading expert was my point.
You sound like saying like as a professional.
People think C is bad.
As a dentist, I mean I would say that Chad Johnson has fantasy prospects.
Grading. C is grading, right? And my point is people tend to think C is bad. But it's not. C means average.
For me, it is.
C means average, and that's what your lineup was. It was average.
C means D or F to me. So I keep my standards high, player.
There you go. Well, it's C.
I'm in mid-season form tonight, so just so y'all know. But by the way, the Bills are ranked 3rd in power rankings. One of the things that we don't really get to see that much, or haven't recently, is the national media's perspective on the Bills typically, as we all know, is kind of brought in a negative light. So just doing some looking around, the interweb, if you will, the Bills consistently rank 3rd in power rankings, which that's just something to put on your shoulder as we're going to the week 1 here, that the NFL is looking at the Bills to make some noise. I mean, we saw guys on there was a guy on CBS Sports, I forgot his name, but says the Bills are going to win a Super Bowl. You've seen other outlets saying Josh Allen's going to win MVP, which that's not a homer take at all. Josh Allen probably will win the MVP. I don't think there's a reason as to why he shouldn't, other than injury. Knock on wood, he's not going to get injured. But other than that, I mean, it's really cool to see the Bills ranked 3rd in power rankings. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this is legit. It's amazing. Even today, there's more and more articles as the season is approaching of people making their Super Bowl predictions. And a bunch of them have Buffalo in there, and this is something in our era we have not seen in decades. But people are legitimately picking Buffalo, and it's because our squad is too good to deny at this point. Last year, the squad was damn good, and people wanted to deny it. Like the Bills were still going to be bad, even though we had the best team in a bad division. It was going to be legitimate, and it was. It came out that way. And now it's like, okay, they already proved they were that good. If anything, they got better. Josh Allen has only gotten better all along. He's the leading MVP candidate, as you mentioned, most likely. And here we are, where lots of professionals who do this every year are now picking the Bills. There's still some doubters out there. There's still some articles I've seen where, there's going to be a regression and, the over-under or prediction is 10 wins. I mean, I think that's insulting for this team in a 17-win season to say they're only going to win 10 games. That's insulting at this point. And the fact that many people are picking us to beat the Chiefs, make the Super Bowl, and then win it all, that's enough said right there. It's time to get real. And if you're a Bills fan and you're not predicting us to win it all, or that isn't where you've set your bar, it's time to change. That's where the bar is. It's Super Bowl, baby. Win it all. And if they don't, we're going to be disappointed. Yes, we could still be proud of what our team does, but the bar is the Super Bowl. And I've been saying that all off season now. We've made it that far. We are legit. It's time to leave that impact and make that run and win it all.
Well, I think, Super Bowl or bust. I mean, I think it's possible. I make it to the AFC Championship game. That's what I want. Make it there. And then we can kind of see where the cards fall. But, because Kansas City, whether we like it or not, is still king of the AFC, and then you got Brady over there on the other side, king of the NFL. So you gotta beat the man to beat a man. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. But it is really cool to see the Bills kind of just hanging out there. So we're gonna see how it all ends up. But with that being said, why don't we go ahead and head on over to the Inside Slant? This is where we're going to talk about all things Bills related. But since we're doing a special kind of show tonight, we are going to start diving deep, or taking the top off of this Week 1 matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, there's a few things that we need to discuss with these Steelers. Okay, these are some things that some points of emphasis that I've noted. Last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers were one of the top teams in the league for a good solid 12 weeks. They were 12-0, and I know we're all kind of like, the Steelers they're pretty good. Like, Ben was balling, and Ben had 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Ben Roethlisberger was not the problem last year. It was just, I think they had a soft schedule, I think. They feasted on bad teams. And then the thing that people aren't talking about that I want to mention before we even get into the minutia of it is that their offensive system is so vanilla. It's so vanilla. I mean, when they go power, they're running. When they go, 3, 4, 5 wide, where the ball's going before he even, it's just teams started to pick up on it. They started to pick up on it. Okay. And that they need to diversify that offense and make multiple looks. Now, part of it was, they're going to say, well, they didn't have a run game, which they did not have a run game. Now they got Najee Harris. We're going to talk about Najee Harris in a little bit here, but they were 12-0, right? Some of the things that plagued the Steelers last year. We talk about wide receiver drops. This is a team that led the league in drops last year. They got guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, whatever you like about him as far as his TikTok dancing, Deontay Johnson. They've always had really good wide receivers. You had Claypool coming on. He balled out. He played well. But the drops, it was the drop and drops at critical moments. We saw that in the Bills game. Deontay Johnson had a terrible drop on a third down. It's those kind of things that hurt you in critical moments, and you have to rise to the occasion. So you go 12-0, and then guess what? So they were 1-6 down the stretch, including the playoffs. 1-6,
and those opponents they started with a really soft schedule, and they got lucky in a few games where it was, winning by just a few points or whatever it may be. They never really looked like a 12-0 dominant team in that start last year. It was good, but not great. And again, it was mostly on the backs of very soft opponents and, getting lucky when the time was right, which is great for a team when you're winning. You take those 12 wins right into the playoffs, no matter how you finish, which is exactly what they did. Because as you said, they finished 1-6 when it came down to it, and they started playing tougher opponents, and they got to the Bills and they lost to us last year. And, they had lost the game previously, and that started the downhill trend of, okay, this team isn't as good as we thought they were. Right. Or their record thought they were. People looked at the record and were like, oh, the Steelers are so good. It's like, no, watch the games, see their opponents. It's not so good. Yeah. And I think it was 11-0, right? That was their start, 11-0. And then they went 11-1, 11-2, and so on.
Hold on. So okay. Here's
12-2, I think is what they were.
Here's a little pop culture. And don't you look this up. I'm putting you on the spot right now. Who is the artist of Too Legit to Quit? And if you don't know this.
Oh, I'm terrible with artists of songs.
Hey, if in the comment section, y'all light his butt up. You ever heard talking about how he's a doctor? Hey, MC Hammer,
I'm
bro.
terrible. MC Hammer, yeah.
Freaking Hammer.
I'm terrible with artists, man. I can't tell you. I could sing it for you, but I can't tell you who's
Man, you killing me, dog.
Usually with any genre like that. I know a lot of songs. I'm not good with the artists.
All right, so injuries. Injuries was a thing for them last year. They lost Devin Bush. Devin Bush was he's a big part of that defense up front. This coming into the season, he's coming back off an ACL injury. They lost Bud Dupree as a guy that they lost this offseason. And now it's already starting to plague them. Some of the guys that they have, these are, as of right now, these are guys that are listed out right now. Stephon Tuitt is a guy right in the middle that, he plays in because they run a 3-4. He had 12 sacks last year, and he's a beast. He is a beast. He's out this week. Zach Banner, Anthony McFarland, all listed as out already. Okay. That's gonna I think the loss of Stephon Tuitt is gonna be a big blow to that defensive line. So they're gonna definitely have to see who's up next. But it's definitely gonna hurt. As far as the Bills are concerned, injury-wise, we got Micah Hyde is questionable, and Star Latulier is questionable. This is one of the things that I love about this team. Is that I don't know. I think it's maybe a little luck, and I think it has a lot to do with their strength and conditioning and the facilities they have at One Bills Drive. I think from a facility standpoint, in terms of player nutrition and health and making sure guys they listen to their bodies and so forth. I think the Bills are one of the top teams in the league that do that. And as a result of that, we don't see a lot of injuries here. So knock on wood again, we don't want injuries, but those only two guys are listed as questionable. And by all indications, I'm pretty sure that they're going to play on Sunday. So we definitely need Star and Micah Hyde. They are big cogs to pillars to our defense. So we should definitely see them headed into week 1. Your thoughts on injuries?
Yeah, I think you put it well that the Bills are lucky and have been over the years here. And it's not just luck, but luck is certainly a big part of it, that we haven't had any major injuries. And the fact that our new facilities have certainly paid off since they built that place. And the whole outlet, the best in the NFL, everything that everybody said about it when it went up, it's been phenomenal for the Buffalo Bills injury-wise. And they also are able to keep things under wraps a little bit. So we haven't heard much about these 2 injuries specifically, but there's certainly nothing out there to indicate that either one of these guys is out for Sunday, right? If anything, it'd be a precautionary measure to keep them out as far as we know. Again, they're good at keeping things under wraps, so it could be an injury and they end up being out. But those are 2 of our starters, 2 guys we expect to be out there the first snap of the game on defense. So, yeah, I mean, it's lucky for the Bills, but also it is a well-run organization, and the health facilities there and the trainers and everything, the staff and the mentality. I don't know whether it comes from McDermott or higher up, but everything that the Bills have done, other teams want to follow. And that's a pretty good trend to start in the NFL for sure. And a lot of it has to do or began when Sean McDermott came in and when they opened up the new facilities. So there's something to be said about the way of doing when it comes to injuries and treatments and how hard you work, guys. All of that goes into that, all of those underlying themes certainly become a factor, but it's a major thing. We're healthy going into week 1. They've been otherwise healthy going into the playoffs. It's football. There's bumps and bruises along the way, and you have a deep roster to make up for that as well. So all of that works in the Bills' favor in this one for sure, especially with the list of guys you had on there for the Steelers who are most likely going to be out. And you didn't even put up another guy we're going to talk about in a minute here, and that's
I'm about to talk about TJ Watt. So TJ Watt, let's go ahead. Nice segue into TJ Watt. Let's go ahead and talk about this. He's a guy. I mean, he's NFL sack leader last year with 15 sacks. I mean, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, he's an animal. I mean, I hate to say it because the Watt family just gets on my ever-loving nerves. I just can't stand it. I just can't. It's almost kind of like the Tim Tebow stuff, but like they get on my nerves. So anyway, but JJ Watt, TJ Watt, Sam Watt, I don't know their damn names. They're all hell of a players, Justin Watt, hell, they probably got a cousin named Justin somewhere. Hell, he probably plays the piccolo or some shit. But they're all ballers, okay? And TJ Watt's the one we're going to talk about right now. And there was an interesting tweet that I found today. This is from Christopher Carter. Go check him out. His work is pretty dope. He's on Locked On Steelers. Tomlin on TJ Watt. He says, I remain optimistic something will get done from a deal perspective. I expect him to work tomorrow. He's missed some time for obvious reasons, his contract. But like I've mentioned, I focus very little on those not working. I focus my energy on those that are. #Steelers. Okay, so how does that hit you? And I'll follow up after you're done.
Critical, right? I mean, you've already mentioned the impact of TJ Watt. He's like up there for predictions of Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL, right? He is the sack leader of this team. I mean, he's a nightmare. When you play the Steelers defense, you look for TJ Watt. And just like on other defenses, when you can see that one guy, you take him off the equation. When he's there, everybody else is better because your best player's on the field. They have to look at him and see where he is. That opens up the other side. No matter who's over there, it opens it up a little bit because your best players on offense, on the offensive line, your blockers are looking for TJ Watt. Now, if you take TJ Watt off the field, all those other guys, you can split your attention. It becomes easier. It becomes a little bit better no matter what. Just taking that talent out, they kind of evens it out a little bit. And they have other guys that are injured as well that we said. So it's so critical. And in this situation specifically, obviously they should pay the man. He's one of the best defensive players in the NFL. You got to give him whatever contract he wants. You give it to him, just like with the quarterbacks and whatever. This guy is too good to let him sit on the bench or let him go in free agency. So they have to do what it takes to take him.
Yeah, they're not going to go that far.
But the other thing is, they're reaching a critical point this week, and Tomlin kind of alluded to it there. And I think he was speaking to TJ Watt specifically, saying, I expect him to show up tomorrow. Why? because even if they get a contract done, let's say Saturday, right? Because the game is Sunday. All right, TJ Watt, we're giving in. The season's here. We need you. We're signing you Saturday. If he doesn't practice starting tomorrow, he's not playing on Sunday. If you don't put in the work starting during the week, there's no way you can just go on the field and play. I don't care if you're TJ Watt. You haven't practiced. You haven't prepped. You haven't put in the sprints in the workout. You're not ready to just walk on the field on Sunday and play. There's no way the Steelers organization can let him play if he does not practice tomorrow and Thursday. It's like you can't get 2 practices in and then play. So I'm watching this situation very, very closely, because if he doesn't play tomorrow, I don't think he plays on Sunday, no matter what happens the rest of the week, even if he signs on Saturday or Friday or whatever. That's going to be critical.
So one of the things that Mike Tomlin is consistent about is how he treats his players.
Exactly.
As far as star players, guys that are important. I mean, he's pretty consistent. We saw this with Antonio Brown. We saw this with Le'Veon Bell. I mean, guys can't just come in there and just think they're just going to call the shots. I mean, he's even put Big Ben in his place. So I think, he's serious when he says, I'm only going to focus on the players that are here. So take that for what it's worth. I can't sit here and say TJ Watt's not going to play. I don't know. They do need TJ Watt big time, especially with you don't have Stephon Tuitt. How much can you really rely on Melvin Ingram? I mean, he's an older pass rusher. I don't know, but TJ Watt's a big part of what they do. So huge. I'm hoping that he doesn't play, but let's just say they don't get anything done and he doesn't play. So we're gonna go and to the fact that everyone says, we all know that like Darrell Williams played a really good game against TJ Watt. Don't expect that. That's not the trend. Okay. TJ Watt can definitely handle Darrell Williams. Darrell Williams just played a hell of a game when they faced off against him. So I would hope that Darrell Williams, he was probably all right between him and Dion, probably the most consistent offensive lineman we had last year. Darrell Williams played every single snap. But he did do a good job against TJ Watt. So take it for what you will. I mean, I'm looking forward to the matchup for sure. But speaking of offensive line, are you ready for this, man?
Let's go. Give it to me.
Are y'all ready? Are the fans ready for this? Listen, man.
If you haven't studied up on the Steelers, this is going to be some information that you will light up your eyes a little.
So let me just tell you who's starting, and then I'm gonna give you a little stat, little something. All right, Dan Moore. He is a left tackle. My guy is a rookie. 4th round rookie. Okay. Coming in at left guard. I wish I had the Bulls music. Ding, 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 ding. And now, okay. Kevin Dotson, left guard. He's in his 2nd year. Okay. Yeah. Kendrick Green. He is a 3rd round rookie. Okay. Ooh, buddy. Then we all know who this guy is, Trey Turner, because he was with Carolina for a while. He had some good years, but his play has dropped big time. Okay, and then you got Chukwuma Okorafor. Okay, he is in his 2nd year. My guy is from the Wakanda forever. Okay, that's where Chukwuma Okorafor, that's where my guy comes from. Okay, he's coming into his 2nd year. Now, he played left tackle last year. Now he's playing right tackle. Okay, now that's Bills. No, we know musical chairs when it comes to offensive line, but he's versatile enough where he could play right tackle. Okay, so when you look at left tackle, left guard, and center, you know how many combined NFL regular season snaps that these guys have? 358 snaps. And that only comes from the left guard position, which is from Kevin Dotson. Guess how many snaps Dion Dawkins has in his 4-year career?
Ooh, buddy. Yeah.
4,238. So I'm just giving you scope.
That high? Wow.
I'm just giving you scope, okay, of like the level of NFL experience or the lack thereof that they have. So one of the things that they keep in mind, okay, Trey Turner was one of the worst graded offensive linemen by PFF last year. My guy came in at a whopping 34.8. Now, we know the Chargers offensive line was bad all the way around, and Justin Herbert still balled out. But Trey Turner, if you go back and watch the film, Trey Turner gets worked. Hey, my guy was out there getting worked. Bobby Hart level,
Not that bad. Come on.
Hey, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up, man. It's a toss-up, okay?
Oh, that's some rough comparison.
Now, so you look at guys like, I would say, so Kevin Dotson. Kevin Dotson, he's a guy that's playing left guard. He excels in pass blocking. He's an average run blocker, so that's decent there, right? I mean, that's gonna be okay. And then you got Chukwuma Okorafor. I haven't watched all of the film, so I can't really say that, but from what I've seen, just from the last parts of the regular season, just watching him, he really hasn't improved. He's a guy that I think is going to struggle. If he's on the right side, he's going to struggle. I think he struggles with speed rushers. This is a bigger offensive tackle, and he's a below average run blocker. That's going to hurt them really big time. So we have a lot of unknowns, right? We have a lot of unknowns. Let me go ahead and bring up kind of where we are in the show right now. So we're talking Steelers offense versus the Bills defense. So we're highlighting the offensive line. So again, 358 total snaps between left guard and center. You have Trey Turner, who was ranked as one of the worst offensive guards in the league last year. And then you have a second-year left tackle move to right tackle. So that's going to pose problems, okay? Everything that we know about the Bills and what we've seen in the preseason, they're going to blitz 4. This is the 1 year that we've had Sean McDermott where I think he now has the pieces of the defensive line where he can say, you know what, we're going to rush 4 because our 4 guys are going to be able to get home consistently and apply pressure, not just up the middle, but on the edges as well. We haven't had that here in Buffalo since the cold front, right? So I'm not saying this is the second coming of the cold front, but this is the best defensive line we've had since the cold front. So it's going to be a problem, okay? So now you got a rookie running back in Najee Harris. Najee Harris is on my fantasy team. I would take an L this week, okay? I would take an L if he just sucked it up, okay? Najee Harris needs to suck it up.
Probably going to.
We're going to see. I hope he does.
But don't break. With running backs, the Bills are always funny. We'll give them 100-plus yards, but they might score 1 touchdown and the game is still lopsided 31-10 or something. So running backs are always funny against the Bills, at least in recent seasons anyway. So you could still put up some numbers, and he's going to get the carries. But like you said, I hope he gets smacked and has -4 rushing yards, and that's it.
Also, Eric Turner did a really, really good job about the Steelers offense and Najee Harris, how he fits into that. So if you haven't watched that, make sure you go check it out. But yeah, Najee Harris, he's going to get his. I think he's a really good running back. He's going to get his. But here's the thing. This is the first game, okay? How are you going to handle, pre-snap adjustments, right? Your center is Kendrick Green. He's a rookie. This is real-time NFL football in Orchard Park, 70,000 screaming fans. How is he going to handle that pressure? Oh, yeah. Because if you're playing center, you're having to make a lot of the line adjustments pre-snap. So him and Ben Roethlisberger are going to have to be on the same page. They're going to have to be, and then you're going to be looking over at Ed Oliver and Star Latulippe. Like that's going to be pretty intimidating for a rookie center. That's going to be, So I expect. So I tweeted out today. I said, I talked about how many quarterback pressures and quarterback sacks. And before I even get into that aspect, let's bring up Ben Roethlisberger here. So Ben Roethlisberger had 33 touchdowns, 10 picks. He was ranked number 1 in terms of getting the ball out. So he released the ball in, I believe, 2.29 seconds. So from the time the ball snapped to the time he throws the ball, it's 2.29 seconds. That's pretty damn fast. Okay, so the Steelers did a lot of dink and dunk, right? Now you add Pat Freiermuth to the equation, tight end out of Penn State. Eric Turner brought something out. These guys are, and Eric Ebron, these guys aren't blocking tight ends. Okay, so you're putting a lot of emphasis on that starting 5. So Big Ben's going to have to get rid of the ball, and the Bills know that. So what are we going to see? I think we're going to see a lot of pressure up the middle, and I think you're going to see, because he gets rid of the ball so quick, I think you're going to see guys like Gregory Rousseau, Ed Oliver. These guys need to get their hands in passing lanes to disrupt Big Ben, get him some tip passes, maybe force a few turnovers. But what are your thoughts on the Bills defensive line in terms of pressure, and how many sacks do you think that we can get out of the game?
You asked in that tweet. I kind of responded to another tweet. I forget who it was who responded initially and said they didn't think the Bills were going to get a lot of sacks in this game. And that's not really what it's about. I know sacks are the pretty stat, and everybody wants to say, oh, the Bills are going to have 5 sacks. But the reality is Big Ben is hard to bring down for 2 reasons. Number one, even when you get to him, he's a big dude and he's physically hard to bring down, no matter how big the other guy is. The second reason is, as he's been now a veteran quarterback, he's smart with the ball in terms of, all right, this guy's coming right at me and he is going to hit me. I need to throw it away right now. Right. So he's going to get rid of the ball quickly. That's what they want to do, as you alluded to with Najee Harris and Pat Freiermuth in the video that Eric Turner did. He breaks this down. That's what they want to do. He's going to drop back for a pass, and when his wide receivers are covered, one of them guys is going to dip in and he's going to dunk it off to them. So I think the key to the game for the Bills defensive line specifically is to get that pressure in his face, make Big Ben uncomfortable, get those big arms up. We got Greg Rousseau. His arms are so damn big. You've heard me say it the whole time. He can get up there and wave. What we have to be careful of is to close those windows for Big Ben to be able to dump it off to Najee Harris or to dump it off to Pat Freiermuth or one of the receivers just going a 2-yard route and running in and getting open because we're rushing the quarterback. You have to bring the pressure for sure, but you have to be smart about it so that you're not over-pressuring and giving Big Ben those easy dink-and-donk plays. You want to get those hands, cover those holes, and make him uncomfortable back there so that he's throwing the ball away, so that he's throwing it into the ground, just like he did against the Bills last year, just like he did in the playoffs when there was pressure on him. It's not that he can't handle the pressure. It's that the offensive line isn't good enough to hold long enough for him. And also when that happens, the key that I said in the tweet as well is you want to force Big Ben to make a mistake. He is capable of saying, okay, the pressure's on me, but I trust that Juju's out there. I'm just going to throw it and throw it as deep as I can or throw it to the route where he's supposed to be. And that's when it's going to be up in the air for an interception or possible tip pass for an interception. That's when the Bills can make a play and capitalize. That's not going to happen a lot in this game. I say maybe 1 tip pass for an interceptions, 2 or 3 sacks, and I would call that an absolute day against Big Ben because it's going to be all about stopping him from being able to get those little plays that add up because they'll do that all day. They'll take 2, 3, 4, 5 yards on a dink-a-dunk play every single time and try to beat you with it that way. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's more of my prediction for the line.
Here's something, and before we move on, we're going to go to our sponsor, but let me throw something out there. On Sunday, be mindful for the they're going to do a lot of window dressing. Okay. So one of the things I want to see them, like when they put Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano kind of in the A gap, right? Stand them up over center and kind of, either they're going to blitz or they're going to go back into coverage. I think that's going to confuse the offensive line. So I could really see maybe 2 or 3 false start penalties come Sunday. I'm not really anticipating this offensive line to be as gelled as they would be midseason or toward the end of the season. This is going to be if you're going to catch the Steelers, this is the best time to catch them. When you have those young offensive linemen, now they could blow the doors off and be phenomenal, but the odds of that happening are slim. They're very slim. So I think Leslie Frazier, Sean McDermott, they know this, and I think they're going to bring the appropriate pressure. But look for window dressing. You're going to see Jordan Poyer come up in the box. They're going to show. They're going to show. They're going to show blitzing 7, 8 sometimes, and they're just going to go back into coverage. I mean, you're going to see a lot of nuance when it comes to their defensive front. So. All right, so real quick. Yes, you better listen to the professor. So the IDP Army, let's go back to the IDP Army, shall we? This is our sponsor. So presented by the IDP Army, mostly IDP, all fantasy football. The IDP Army is a fantasy sports media brand that creates entertaining and insightful fantasy football content and products with a holistic approach to fantasy football. Their flagship product, the Ultimate IPD Index, is the #1 resource for IDP fantasy football players. The Ultimate IDP Index is an index of tiered rankings, detailed player profiles going back to 2017, contract information, suggested trade values, weekly snap percentage tracker, and suggested start sits that are updated in daily season. That is really damn cool. Also, the IDP index was created and curated by Jordan Rains, the founder of IDP Army. Jordan has been a top 5 draft expert ranker for IDP on Fantasy Pros the past 2 seasons. So go to idparmy.com for more details. So we appreciate the IDP Army and partnering with us here at Cover One in the Hoof Podcast. Be tuned and stay locked with the IDP Army because they really do have some good
all of your
for
fantasy
you
needs. Like I said, the dynasty things that people don't take into consideration necessarily, you can get from them, as well as things like their trade value chart, which I think is huge during the season. You're like, hey, this guy's kind of hot. Do I trade him? What can I get back for him? I don't know how many trades I've seen in leagues where I'm like, this guy just gave up that player for this value. I'm telling you, this app can help you with that. These guys know what they're talking about. Their rankings, it's going to be pretty helpful during the season. There's the YouTube channel to check out. You can subscribe to get more from them.
Right.
It's going to make you a better and more informed fantasy guy. So I absolutely love this.
Hey, my guy Y chimes in. He says my ex liked to dink and dunk too, and that's probably why she's an ex, because you couldn't get it done, my G. You couldn't get it done. She's an ex for a reason, bro. She was like, look, man. She's like, why you're gonna have to step it up in the sack. See, if we had like a sponsor for who are those dudes that the Lawnmower 2.0 guys. That would have been a great segue for that. Okay. All right. I just dropped some free knowledge on y'all to shave your balls. Okay. All right. So we're going to keep it moving here. We're going to keep it moving. All right. So with that being said, I want to see, what this Bills offense is going to look like versus the Steelers defense. So one of the notable things we talked about earlier was Stephon Tuitt's not going to be in the game. The guy had 12 sacks last year. Okay. Really, really good, not only as a pass rusher and being disruptive, especially at the point of attack, but also in the run game. Okay, this is a guy that can stack and shed, and he gets after it. And we don't know if TJ Watt's going to be in the fold. Okay, they do. Devin Bush is going to be back, but the thing with Devin Bush is coming off of ACL. So how healthy can he be? I mean, is he going to be all the way 100% where he's just moving fluid? And one of the things about Devin Bush that's is great is his speed. His play speed is great. He's fluid in his hips. He can cover. He can lay a lick. He's very instinctual linebacker. They also got they just traded for a guy, Joe Schobert, from the Jacksonville Jaguars a couple weeks ago. So he's a proven guy that he's going to play inside linebacker. So I don't know if it was one of those things where they just felt like they needed to bolster a position, or they, one of those insurance policies where, those two guys are going to start, but, just until Devin Bush maybe he's going to be feeling a lot better as he gets into midseason form. I don't know, but we're going to mainly be seen. And then they got Spillane. Spillane was a guy that kind of bust on the scene last year. He kind of had some big plays in a few games. Robert Spillane. He had a couple big plays in some games, so they got guys. They got guys that can play. And then you got Minkah Fitzpatrick. And then you got, their cornerback who's going to be a free agent this coming year. Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden is, yes. Their cornerbacks are the same as last year. And we know what happened with the Bills. So before I get your take on this, let's talk about, let's do a kind of a rewind. So last year when the Bills played the Steelers, the first half, the Bills really couldn't move the football. They really could not move the football. And all of a sudden, what changed in the second half? It was a short, quick passing game, and they incorporated Stephon Diggs. They started getting him on the move and stuff like that. So if we saw that, Brian Dable's not stupid. He's a thinking man's coordinator, okay? He's a scientist. He's like you, Anthony. He's a scientist, right? When it comes to X's and O's.
He's good at.
I think that they're going to dial up some really good stuff. But before I get into what I think about the Bills' offense, I want you. What is your analysis on how the Bills can attack the Steelers' defense?
I think you said it key when you talked about our wide receivers versus their defensive backs, right? Because you saw what happened last year, and the situation did not improve any here. So what happens when the Bills have 3 or 4 wide receivers on the field, which is exactly what we love to do, right? Most of the plays are 3 and 4 wide receivers. Maybe Dawson Knox is out there. Hey, go 5 wide receivers. And the matchup is just 100% in favor of the Bills there, right? That's our strength. I don't care who we're playing. We're passing the ball more than we're running. And now we're playing a team with weak cornerbacks. I'm telling you, Josh Allen is going to pass and going to have a day. And what are our guys best at? Route running. That's their weakness. I mean, I'm telling you, the speed, the route running, Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Gabriel Davis, all on the field at the same time. Cole Beasley. I mean, these guys, somebody is going to be open every single play. And the way Josh Allen has been prepping for the season, we know he's going to absolutely unleash. And it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So with that being said, so some things to kind of, one of the things I want to see how much has Cody Ford improved in terms of just being an offensive lineman. You know, we saw him in the preseason. One of the highlights that I like to see, that how he was able to be a pulling guard and move effectively in space and locate and seek defensive linemen. I think that's a really key thing. As far as the offensive line perspective, I think the thing is watching these guys get to the second level. You know, that was one thing that we didn't do well enough last year. And maybe that was because we were kind of trying to figure out the run game and the blocking scheme and so forth. But I think Bobby Johnson, these guys, from the preseason, looks like they're pretty set on how they want to attack. Okay. So look for these guys to get to the second level. I think the screen game is going to prove pivotal. You know, you got these let's say TJ Watt does play, you know, you got these guys that they want to come off the edge. Melvin Ingram, they just want to rush the passer. I think that's one, you're going to open up rush lanes for Josh Allen. And two, it's going to open up the quick pass game, something that we saw last year. So if you're, identifying the Mike linebacker and he's not too sure, because he's going to see 4 or 5 wide receiver sets all day, I think that's going to be tough. So I think, the idea maybe for the Bills is to get them out of that 3-4 and put the emphasis on their secondary, have them go 4 and 5 wide. They might not be able to go, as heavy as they like to. Now that Stephon Tuitt's out, so they have to come up with answers with Josh Allen. And here's a take. Josh Allen's one of the top 5 smart, like as far as headstrong, smart quarterbacks when it comes to like reading a defense we have in the league. I'm sorry, but one of the underrated things that he does is being able to process a defense and knowing what's happening pre-snap, post-snap. Josh Allen is phenomenal at that. So you add all those things, and that's just talking about the outside and the lane. We haven't even talked about the run game in terms of what Devin Singletary is going to bring to the table. I read something today. They were saying about Devin Singletary wasn't in shape last year. I didn't know.
Well, we know he is now based on the pictures he posted, right?
I mean, And
he has looked sharper than in the preseason. I've said we're good, man. I'm telling you, running back, we are good. Those guys can get it done, and that's all you need is guys that are capable. You don't need all stars at the freaking running back position. They are good and good enough, and they can dominate if needed in certain situations. They're not going to be the guy every week, but they have the ability, both Moss and Singletary. So we're good. And Breida. Don't forget, we still have a speedy back that can come in and change the pace a little bit.
Yeah, so I want to see how Emmanuel Sanders fits into the offense schematically. Emmanuel Sanders is a phenomenal route runner. I think he's a guy that can sit and find soft zones. He's a guy that has good acceleration when in terms of being able to separate from defenders and cornerbacks at the top of his stem. I think that's one of the things that we're going to have to look out for. And then Dawson Knox, before I go into Dawson Knox, Anthony, how do you think Dawson Knox is going to play a factor in Sunday's game?
He's a tight end, and the Bills don't necessarily use the tight end position a lot. He's going to be out there. He's going to maybe make 2 good catches, for 10 yards or something down the sideline, and he might get one that he misses toward him, but he's not going to be the center of this offense. All 4 of those wide receivers are going to be, especially in this matchup specifically. The tight end might play a role, sure, but again, if they have 2 good cornerbacks and there's 4 excellent wide receivers on the field, one of those guys is going to be open. So all Dawson Knox has to do if he's out there is be a body, right? Just move forward, get covered, try and get open. Because if you're Josh Allen, you got 4 other guys to look at before you look at Knox specifically, and maybe get his number called every once in a while when those guys are covered. But I just don't see it in this matchup. I want those 4 wide receivers to get 99% of the throws, right? Those top 4 guys are going to be out there for a lot of plays and they should be getting the majority of the action because every single play, one of them is going to be open. And it's just going to be a matter of Josh Allen getting it to the right place in the right time. And then, can Knox have a good game here? Sure. Maybe he has 3 catches and a touchdown, and the 2 of the catches go for 10 plus yards. I'll take that. That sounds like a good day to me. And we know this. They love Dawson Knox, all right? Look, we knew this last year when they were benching Tyler Kroft, completely making him inactive for Knox. We knew, okay, they really believe in Knox. They want him to be a guy. This year, they sign Hollister. They say we need to improve the tight end position. And then they cut him and go straight up with Dawson Knox again. So he's going to be the guy. He's going to be out there. They love him. They want him to be the guy. But he doesn't need to be the center of attention, and I don't want him to be in this game specifically because those 4 other guys need to get a lot of action.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you have it like that, right, I think the Bills – look, Dawson Knox can – it's one of those things where if he adds to your arsenal, which I think he will this year, I think you use him. If he's a viable pass catching option, which I think he will be, you incorporate him in your game. I want to see them use him like Kansas City uses Travis Kelce. Kind of have him come behind the line of scrimmage to get that shovel pass, or just kind of some of the route combinations that Kelce does. That is a big ass. But I think Dawson Knox, I think he has every capability, the skill set to do it athletically. So I think we talked about on Disguised Coverage last week, Dawson Knox. That I was asked if who's going to be that breakout player for the Bills or who's going to exceed expectations. I picked Dawson Knox because the ceiling or the expectation level right now is low. I think he could be, a mid-tier tight end in this league. And I think he's going to start this year. This is a big year for him, year 3. I think, consider his experience as one of the reasons why he really hasn't produced. I mean, he's put the hard work in this offseason. So I'm anticipating Dawson Knox to have at least 4 or 5 catches, maybe 60 yards. That's what I want to see out of him this Sunday. Emmanuel Sanders is another guy. I want to see 5 or 6 catches, 60 yards would be great. Gabe Davis coming into a second year. I want to see how much of a nuanced route runner has he become. He had limited time this preseason. I want to see what it looks like in real time action. Okay. He had that great catch and route from Josh Allen over the middle, in Josh Allen's lone preseason action. I want to see more of that, and if a guy like Gabriel Davis can mold into that number 2 wide receiver that I'm sure the Bills want him to be. I don't have him as that guy yet. Can he be there? Yeah, I think this is a smart wide receiver who can play all the positions in terms of knowing, we've seen him play inside. We've seen him play outside. And those are big deal to Brian Daboll. So he's putting in the work in terms of his mental processing and what he's expected and supposed to do pre-snap and how to get open, and leverage himself to against defensive backs and get open and make plays for the Bills. So, I could go on, and I haven't even talked about Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs destroyed the Steelers last year. They had no answer for him at all. So what's another thing that we see Brian Daboll do? Brian Daboll could come out and throw the ball 20 times straight.
Mm-hmm.
It's
don't need to run if it's working. You don't need to run if it's working. You don't have
to run just for the sake of running the ball. Nope. My guy could come out and throw the ball 20 times. We've seen him come out and throw the ball 10, 15 times in a row without
Throw in a play action in there once in a while, but that's it. Just fake the handoff and then pass it because it's working.
But Matt Breida does come into play. Like if the Bills are playing in a lot of 10 personnel, right? And Matt Breida, let's say he's at running back. I would love to see Matt Breida out wide, trying to see what he could do in the pass game. I think that's his strongest attribute. Get the ball in space. We saw what Brian Daboll was able to do to get him on the end around and kind of get him in space. So those are things that I'm looking forward to. How much improved? I want to see Mitch Morse improve some more. I think that last year I think we kind of crapped on Mitch Morse a little. It was unwarranted. The guy, he's still a damn good center. And
they paid him for a reason when he was a free agent. He's good.
Yeah, he's really good, and he's really agile, man. The guy can move. Mitch Morse can move. He's a cerebral guy. He's a smart player. So I think Mitch Morse is going to have a big game in front of him. Now,
it's the guard positions that we're most worried about or doing, right? The two guys that we are unsure about are at the guard positions right next to Mitch Morse. So hopefully he can pick up some slack there if those rushers do start to get through or if something starts to happen. And I trust Josh Allen to make the right decision in the end, right?
Check
if one
that.
of them guys comes through, he's going to come through. Somebody said, the announcer actually said Diggs is crushing the Steelers. I think I do remember that during that game because, yeah, he was open and thrown to every single play. They knew it was happening, and they still couldn't stop it. And we haven't even seen Diggs on the field this preseason yet. And wait till he gets back there with Josh Allen because Josh Allen has been on fire with the guys on the field without Stephon Diggs.
Right.
And like I said about TJ Watt in the defense, same thing with Stephon Diggs in the offense. You put that best player out there, now that's the guy the defense is looking at. Everybody else is going to get better. Everybody else is going to get better when Stephon Diggs is on the field, even if he doesn't catch a pass. But we know he's going to for sure in this game. Okay,
so John Feliciano, he's another guy that I'm looking forward to seeing. He's slimmed down,
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed from watching film, he had slow feet last year. I want to see if he kind of improved there at the point of attack. Is he able to withstand, top defensive tackles in the league when they come with power? I think he, at times last year, he struggled with power and hand placement. So that's one of the things that I want to see him improve on. I mean, I don't want to be sound homerish, but I really do hope that, Feliciano improved there. I think honestly, I think Cody Ford this is a hot take. Cody Ford is going to outplay John Feliciano this year.
Wow.
Mark, book it.
That is a hot take because I was just going to say you have a guy like Ike Bacher who started games last season. He's now on the bench. One of those guys doesn't start living up to snuff. They're going to put Ike Bacher in because we know he can play the position and be capable and get us to what we need. So if one of those guys starts to low, and that's the problem with the beginning of the season, is it takes a few games of real game action for these guys to get into form on the offensive line. By about game 4, 5, 6, that's when you want your offensive line. What those guys really are. So I'm not sure that McDermott would do it in game 1, but they will do it maybe later on if those positions, those two spots, Feliciano and Ford, aren't living up to snuff. Because Ike Bacher's right there. He's a starter. He could be a starter on any team, and here he is.
What? What'd you just say?
Bacher on most teams, who don't have two.
God, not even guards. Most. Hey, he's a silent depth piece. Ike Bacher's not that nice, bro.
He played last year and was a starter and played well.
Yeah, he's okay. He played because of necessity.
Or Feliciano would get messed up. Ike Bacher is 100% capable of going in there and starting. So you're going to hear the murmurs those guys aren't getting it done to put in Ike Bacher.
Just compared to other starting, guards, he's not that. He ain't that nice, bro.
You have good starters, no.
But the offensive, when you got trotting out, when you're trotting out Brian Winters.
Oh, bad. Yeah.
Hey, here's a question. Have you ever dated a girl with a season in her name?
What?
Like winter.
Winter,
autumn,
spring, summer, fall?
Fall, summer.
No.
Me either. It always, those kind of chicks just I don't know, man. They just don't do it for me. I just had to throw that out there. But I would never date a summer. That if you date a summer, she has to have anger issues, right?
Where are you getting that from?
Dude, it's just all up in here, bro. I just be coming out with this stuff. But anyways, back to the show. Back to it. Okay, so we kind of have an idea of how, I think we're gonna in summary, I think we're gonna see a quick passing game deployed by the Bills. I don't know how many. I think they're going to take their shots deep, but it's going to be very calculated. We'll probably only see maybe 1 or 2 deep shots this game. I think what you're going to see is Emmanuel Sanders, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley work. We didn't even talk about Cole Beasley work in the intermediate area. This is where Josh Allen excels a lot. So we're going to see a lot of 10, 12, 15-yard passes. Boom, 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 boom. I think they're going to eat them up. I think when you do that, I think it's going to open up the run lanes for Devin Singletary. So I expect Devin Singletary to have about, maybe 10 carries, Zach Moss, or 10 to 12 carries for the both of them. Matt Breida maybe have 2 or 3 carries. So we're going to see how they fare in the run game. One of the areas of improvement that we need to see from Devin Singletary is catching the football. So maybe that's one of the reasons why Matt Breida is on the team, because he's a guy that can catch the football out of the backfield. pass blocking is going to be huge. But again, we don't know if they're going to be coming in, what kind of formations they're going to be lined up in. I know we're going to see a lot of 10, 11 personnel, one running back, one tight end, or one running back, zero tight end. So, or one tight end, no running backs, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they have options. They have a lot of options.
It's exactly what you said. The options are, we haven't even talked about like Isaiah McKenzie coming in for special play if he's healthy and active for this game, which all indications are he will be, right? So if he's healthy and active, we expect him to be the punt return and kick returner, right, primarily. But he's also can come in and do those plays that we know he can do, the end arounds, the quick pass, the throw a ball to a wide receiver.
That's awesome. Hey, never dated a girl with a season name, but I'm about to fall for you.
You get it.
Hey,
That's good fun work. That's good fun work.
Okay, so let's kind of so we kind of have an idea of how the Bills are going to attack the Steelers defense. So let's, in summary, okay, I'm going to ask you this, okay, and I'm going to ask you guys in the chat as well. Bills will win if. Now, don't say some stupid shit like the Bills score more points than the Steelers, okay? Like, what's going to be the causing mechanism? Is it going to be Josh Allen quick passing game, or is Devin Singletary going to pop off that nobody expects, or is it Stephon Diggs? They're just going to keep kind of with the same blueprint as last year. So the Bills will win if. I'm putting you on the spot, Anthony.
Well, I have 100% faith in Josh Allen. So I don't believe it's Bills will win if Josh Allen anything, because we expect that. Josh Allen is going to Josh Allen at this point now. So I'm going to say the wide receivers catch the ball. If the wide receivers do their part, run their routes, get open, catch the ball when Josh Allen targets them, it's 100% going to be a Bills win no matter what happens on Bills defense and the Steelers offense. Tell me the Steelers get points every time they get the ball, and I'll tell you, as long as Josh Allen and those wide receivers are on the same page, which all indications are they are, we win the game no matter what. That's it. So I would say Bills win if the wide receivers and Josh Allen are on the same page, which I 100% expect them to be. Okay.
I'm going to say the Bills win if the defensive line applies pressure and turnover opportunities against this young offensive line. I think this is the part where if you're, Leslie Frazier, Sean McDermott, you look at this offensive line and you got to be licking your chops. You see blood in the water. And I think that, man, it was so sexy to see how they just deployed these linemen. Like they were just coming after you. Like, I want to see that in week one. I want to see it all season, but I think that's something that we can see week one. We haven't even talked about AJ Epenesa's prospects in year two, what he's able to do. I really do think, I would start Groot over Mario Addison. I 100% start Groot over Mario Addison. I just would.
It's not that hot of a take anymore after that preseason, right? He said that.
Jerry Hughes against a rookie left tackle.
I would say
Are you serious? Are you serious?
A start doesn't really mean much on this defensive line, right? We know that start just means you're playing the first snap, right? And you might come out after the first snap. At this rate, they're going to be rotating guys a lot.
But still,
they always do that. But I think in terms of respect, you're going to put the veterans out there. Addison and
I don't care. I mean, I don't know if I don't think it's a matter of respect. I mean, I know now Jerry Hughes, Rousseau is backing up Jerry Hughes, right? So, but we don't know. But I could totally see a situation where Mario Addison, he's solid, but I think Groot is I think he brings a little bit more tools to the table.
That he be
but even if it's Addison and Hughes, one of the things that we heard them talk about is how they don't want those guys playing in the early rundowns. They want those guys in pass downs so they can pin their ears back and go. So maybe we see combinations of Epinesa and Groot and Basham kind of in there on those rundowns where they can kind of flex their muscles a little bit and contribute to stopping the run. Tremaine Edmonds, Star Lotulelei, that combination, that relationship there, with I think, Tremaine, even though he had a solid year, I think mentally, he hit his low. mentally because he was trying to do too much last year. Okay. But now I think having Starback being a year older in the system, I think we're going to see, Tremaine Edmonds kind of start to put his ears back and start playing instinctually and not trying to over process and overthink too much, trying to play both linebacker positions at once. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I say the Bills win if the defensive line shows up to play. So MVP of week 1, who you got? You're going to go Josh Allen, right? Because kind of
on the team. Yeah, it's got to be. Unless Diggs catches 90% of the passes he throws, but I have to go Josh Allen 100% here. He's going to rack. Like I said, we have more receivers, 4. Hopefully they all have good days. And if that happens, 80 yards here, 60 yards there, 80 yards, Josh Allen's going to have a day. So there's no way you can't give it to him.
Yeah, I would say Josh Allen. Well, one of the things that to also keep in mind, the Steelers have 2 decent tight ends, and I want to see how these linebackers are able to handle covering tight ends. That was one of the things that got us knocked out last year was the inability to cover Travis Kelce and tight ends all season. So that's something to talk about. So as we wrap up the show, one of the things that we're going to be doing this year is this is the Hoof email campaign. Okay. And what this is, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be giving away jerseys every single month. So, the first 4 weeks, how you enter to win is what you're going to do is you see the email address there, the hooflive@gmail.com. Okay. What we're trying to do here, we're trying to get more fan engagement. And I know a lot of times, there's so much stuff in the chat that we never get to, or, because you need the super chat. But what I want to do, I want to start highlighting some of you guys. If there's a concept or a thought or an idea that you have for the show, or you want to ask a question about, how do you think, the Bills are going to handle Miami's front in week 2, or how are they going to disguise, whatever that question may be. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the hooflive@gmail.com and you're going to submit your question, any question. If it's a personal question or you just want to talk about life in general, this is where you're going to do it. And when you submit a question to us, I will pick some to read on the show, and then we will enter your name into a drawing to win a Bills jersey. So that's pretty dope. So we're going to be giving back to the fans, and if it wasn't for you guys, we would not be here. So this is our way of saying thank you to being such a cool fan base and followers of Cover One and the Hoof Podcast. We're excited
to hear from you, man. We want the fans to start taking part in the show even more, and we do that by setting up this email, getting your comments, getting your questions, racking them up for the week so that we're ready to go. And can't wait to start giving away stuff. This is going to be fun too. Week 4, it'll be the first giveaway, and I'm excited to see who's going to get it because we have a lot of loyal listeners, and we appreciate all of you.
Yes. So just to make sure you guys are aware that you like, follow, and subscribe to the Hoof Podcast and the Cover One Network on YouTube. Find us on social media at Furrow Sterling. Anthony, what's your Twitter handle?
At Anthony Romeo NY.
And so make sure you guys, man, look, it's the regular season. When you like, follow, and subscribe, this does help our YouTube algorithm. And it only, it kind of helps us. How do we bring a better product to you as content creators? So make sure you guys do that. If you want to leave a review as well, by all means do it. I love any feedback that you guys have. But man, what a freaking show. It's week 1. It's week 1. And we got a super chat.
Thank you, Nicholas. Awesome show. So pumped for real football. Finally, LFG, baby. Yes,
the
season is here. The countdown is on. I'm just getting those hours of sleep in before Sunday. Ready to go. I'll be at the game with the suit on, baby. So anybody who's going to be at the game, look for me and Sterling. We're going to be there, baby. We're going to be there together, partying in Hammerlot.
I'm going to be at Hammerlot. Look. I'm telling you right now, if you walk up on me on Sunday, I'm going to be lit. I'm going to be lit. I'm going to be lit. Okay. I'm all the way lit on Sunday. I'm just telling you right now. So, but right.
We're going to be having a good time for sure.
You do Buffalo things when in Buffalo. So I'm going to be there on Friday night. So any of y'all out there want to kick it, you want to hang out, hit me in the DMs, y'all. Hit me in the DMs as your boy is going down in the DM. Your boy YG. All right, it's going down in the DM. Hit me there. But anyways, before we go, just real quick score prediction. Go ahead. What you got, Anthony? Score prediction.
I've thought about this all week, and I finally came up with a score I liked: 31-13 Buffalo. I think this is really. Listen, one thing we haven't emphasized.
Keep it short.
70,000 Buffalo Bills fans ready to freaking go after the season we just had when none of us were able to go there. Even in the playoffs, limited number. They had an impact with 5,000. They had an impact in a preseason game. Now it's going to be 70,000 at our top energy. You and I are going to be part of it. All of us aren't going to be able to speak for days because we're going to lose our voice, and that stadium is going to explode with Bills fans, and I don't think the Steelers are going to handle it. I think 31-13 is a reasonable, if not generous, score prediction.
Okay. I'm going to go 34-21. I think the Bills are going to get that dub. They're going to get that 1-0, get that dub. So I'm looking forward to a hell of a game. All right, man, it's time to go. We love all of you. We're so excited. It's week 1, man. Stay tuned to the Hoof Podcast, to the Hoof Live, Cover One Network.
And we'll have the show on Friday. Don't forget about
We'll have the show on Friday.
Drops Friday. Sterling and I will be on.
And we out of here. Go Bills.